Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dave Thompson. I am the Education Director of the ACE Academy of Cleaning Excellence and President of the Green Clean Institute. This afternoon, we're going to be talking about business-to-business networking. So come right on back after this message and we'll talk about it.
Live from Orlando, Florida, and the ACE Learning Center at GemSupply, it's Beyond Clean with Dave, a weekly broadcast for professionals in environmental health services around the world. Your host is David Thompson, Director of Education for GemSupply, and his mantra is, I am a janitor and I save lives. And now let's listen to Beyond Clean with Dave and today's guest at the ACE Learning Center in sunny downtown Orlando.
There are three words which I focus on each and every Friday afternoon. If you've been with me, you know what those words are, but if you haven't, they're healthy, positive, and proactive. Now today we're going to be talking about every other group that you've ever heard about. No longer do you have to go to that strange place and try to talk over everybody else in the room. I know I've been there. It's not a lot of fun. If you've been to any of these events, there's, rules and there's regulations and a list of expectations. And quite honestly, I don't have the time for that. I've got enough of that in my day job. Anyway, if you've ever been burned by that flame of that pressure, don't do that anymore. Mike Marcellus with Tipclub is here to join with us and talk to us about what networking really can be. And the last time I talked to Mike, he was still calling from New York. And Mike, I think that's where you're still at.
That's correct, Dave. I'm up in Rochester, New York, upstate New York.
What's the temperature like up there?
It's cold. Went from very windy to very cold.
Okay. We're not going to talk about weather today, okay? Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. You're inside, I'm inside, and we're talking networking. So, you know what? I think there's a lot of people in the audience that probably never has done networking, really doesn't know what we're talking about to begin with.
Right. Most people are familiar with business networking, which is simply like-minded business people sharing business opportunities and referrals. And it's always been considered a critical component to the success of most businesses. But there are a lot of shortcomings to business networking that leave a lot of people disenchanted and unbelieving that they can get the proper ROI and results. How many times have you heard the complaint, I never meet the decision maker at these business networking events, or I can never reach my target market? Another common one is I get bad referrals. I get unqualified referrals. So people often just get disheartened and give up.
So that's basically unproductive. I know I've been to some and I walked out going, hey, that was a waste of my time.
Exactly. A lot of problems that people see with business networking today is that it's a waste of time, too much socializing, people just talking about the weather and other trivial things.
Oh, now wait a minute. Now I started talking about the weather. Now you're going to get me.
You moved away real quick, though.
Yeah, hey,
so
I've learned from you, Mike. I've got a few tips. All right. So what we're talking about is that any business can do this, but this is like-minded people only?
Usually because they are there for a purpose, and that is to help their business. A lot of people approach it differently, but the commonality is they want to help their business. So that's where they have a similar train of thought, but most people do it improperly. They short-term objectives. They think they're there to sell instead of network. They're not seeking the win-win relationships that should be coming out of networking. A lot of different facets that people don't consider when they're going out and networking.
I know I've always felt pressured, like there was a time clock on this and that I had to do it right then when I was there. And if I didn't meet the right person, and hey, I guarantee you most of the time when I went to them, it was all salespeople, and that's not who I want to talk with.
Correct, but there's different layers to networking, and that salesperson that you don't want to talk to might know someone else that you do want to talk to, and that's true networking.
Okay, all right. So this has got to be a win for everybody, not just for one side. I've come away from it and saying, I gave a lot of information, but I didn't get any back.
Right. It's got to ultimately, and it might take a while, but it's ultimately got to be a win-win situation for both parties involved. I think we all agree networking has been around for a long time. It's here to stay. It's important. Matter of fact, 92% of business people say that networking played an important role to their business's success. And this was done in a survey recently by the Referral Institute that surveyed 12,000 business people that came and said 92% admitted that business networking was important. So
Okay, now was it successful for 92%?
Well, they said it was successful, but they didn't say how successful, and that's a key component. Success to a lot of people in business networking is being in the right place at the right time. You happen to bump into someone that needs your product or service, and you depend on luck. And yes, they're networking, but they're not doing it properly, and they can get probably tenfold what they're getting, what they want to get out of it compared to what they're putting into it.
Okay, so who uses what type of networking?
Today's networking environment is multifaceted, and that's why we stress to people it's very, very important to have a plan. In another survey, business people are asked where they form their most critical and beneficial business relationships, and surprisingly, only 1% of small business owners said it was on LinkedIn. Another 4% cited Facebook, 11% cited networking events. So you might be asking yourself, where do people find the success in networking? Yeah. Well, 17% said they made the right connections through friends and family networking. Another whopping 55% cited getting referrals from clients, existing clients. So that goes back to, yes, it's effective, but how effective? Because if they're getting it through existing clients, again, they're probably depending on being in the right place at the right time, running into that client and having to get an opportunity and not really coming up with a plan.
Okay, so I'm hearing you say that that 72% of this is by happen chance? I can't run a business that way.
Right, especially this day and age where there's just so many different areas you can focus on with networking. One thing to consider is that LinkedIn is a professional networking website. It's not a business networking website. Business networking is done on LinkedIn, but most people go there to focus on their jobs, their careers, recruiting. So
hey, I just got my job, my gig here. I got it through LinkedIn. Are you telling me I wasn't networking?
You were networking, but you were professional networking. The key word you said was jobs, and that's a totally different strategy. Okay. People who business networking, they're looking for referrals. They're looking for introductions and opportunities to grow their business. They're looking for new clients. And if they're focusing on that, like many salespeople, marketing people, small business owners do, you need a plan. And like I was saying, in today's day and age, there's a lot of different areas to choose from, and you got to make sure you choose the right one for yourself.
So I've got to make a kind of a shift, a mindset change about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it so that I network the right way.
Correct. And that'll be different for everybody because the way we look at it, networking is evolving. We believe that at some point you'll see business networking taught in schools, just like marketing and other important business functions. Marketing has the 4 Ps, which have been taught for years in schools. Right. We've come up with a mix for business networking called the 4 Cs that we feel every business should focus on. The first one is composition. That includes, are you open networking, which means you're going to mixers and just meeting people in general? Are you closed networking, which is private networking groups? Or are you strategic networking? And that's a combination of different things, and that's what we're big believers in. Okay. Another one is the configuration of your network. Are you doing internet-based? Are you doing face-to-face? Are you doing teleconferences and webinars? Or are you doing mixes of both?
Hey, I'm networking right now. I'm using the technology, the internet.
Yeah, you are, Dave, and you've done it effectively because I also know you go to networking events, you go to networking groups, and you go to industry conferences. And that is where you probably sat down and said, where am I going to get the best bang for my buck? And you came up with a plan, and you're doing a great job at networking through all the different means out there. So yeah, you got to sit down and come up with a proper configuration and what works for you.
Well, by the way, I've got the websites and the Facebook and all of the different, those things too. The icons on the phone, and hey, we use those. But now you said something about an industry, so I've got to actually know what industry I am, and that's what is that part of your C's? Yeah.
Another C is the community. What kind of community do you need to be in to network properly, efficiently? Industry is huge. You want to be around people that have the same focus as you do, want to meet the same decision makers. A lot of people want to be in the local networking community. They want to go to functions that are down the road. They want to join groups that are right there in their city because they're more general networking. They want to meet much more, a lot more people instead of more focused people. And there's also a lot of personal networking done in your community, such as Facebook. A lot of business is done on Facebook and Twitter, and there's a lot of intermixing between the personal, professional, and business networking. So it can get pretty complicated for people.
Well, what I'm hearing you say, though, is doesn't matter what industry that you're in. It doesn't matter what you really think about it. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to have a plan of action.
Correct. Correct. And once you have that plan, we come to the fourth C, and that's communication. You have a plan, you're in front of the right person. How do you communicate with them? Is it verbally? Is it non-verbally? Is it through email, texting, chat? Is it through your website? Is it through mobile apps? So that's another area you want to consider is the form of communication that's going to be most effective for you. I recently heard that up to 80% of the communication between business people is done non-verbally, which is huge. So just a lot of different facets to think about, and people need to sit down and come up with what's right for them.
So Tipclub's been doing this for about 12 years, and you have some stats that you've shared with me over the year that you know that this works. We're almost finished with our time. Can you give the audience a few things to kind of leave them with here?
Yeah. What you want to do is, first and foremost, and I can't stress this enough, and I've mentioned it before, is come up with a plan. You don't want to depend on luck. You don't want to depend on being in the right place at the right time. So to come up with a plan, look at your industry, look at the markets you're going after. Is it local? Is it nationwide? Is it worldwide? Come up with a configuration, come up with the community that you're going after. And then once you have the plan, get out there and implement it. You're going to see results. The thing you want to keep in mind is that it's got to be a long-term plan. If you're going into, and I've doing this for 12 years, I've seen it happen so often where people go to business networking events and they go and they sell. They sell to people and they try to close people on the spot, and that more or less alienates people. You want to go in, and a great opening question is, what do you do and how can I help you? And if you're trying to help a person, by nature, they're going to want to help you. And in long term, you're both going to benefit.
Absolutely. I think Mike and I know each other from a relationship. I used to run a Tipclub group in St. Louis. I moved down here to Orlando, where I am now, and I had to give that up. But you know what? I haven't given up on Tipclub and networking, because I've set up our first networking event. You see it right here. It's an Eventbrite location. You can come, and if you're in the Orlando area, our first meeting is April the 6th with Tipclub right here at GemSupply. I look forward to seeing any one of you that is in the networking area or in my local area that want to network. I know Tipclub works. I'm happy with the way the program works. Mike, thanks for coming up with the answer to this confusing world of networking.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Dave. And what I've come up with wouldn't work with great people like you that participate in it. And that's what networking's all about.
Well, the thing about it is you're not in my local network, in my local area. Tipclub.com is where you can go. You can go and search out. I think there's like 40 locations across the U.S. where you have weekly or monthly meetings.
Right.
And so, you know what? If you're into networking or you want to find out more, get hold of Mike, get hold of myself. We have a lot of individuals that are always asking for classes. Well, I'm going to have a class on networking. It's April the 6th. So come on back and join us then. Mike, thank you very much for calling up there where it's nice and cold.
Great. Thank you, Dave.
Have a good afternoon.
You too. Thanks so much, everybody.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're kind of changing things up a little bit this afternoon, because what we have is another guest speaker that's sitting in the wings. We're ready to go. We're going to take just a little bit of a pause. We're going to come right back. We'll have our next speaker, and I think it's going to be a subject you're going to like to hear talk about, because we've got another event coming up. So stick around with us and come on back here in just a few seconds. Okay, if you've kind of been following along, we're doing a little bit different this afternoon. We've got two speakers. We just finished with Mike Marcellus from up in New York. You know, there's a common thing, but before I get to that, in case you missed our conversation with Mike, I've got three words which I focus on every Friday afternoon: healthy, positive, and proactive. Now, our second speaker this afternoon is going to be talking about contract cleaning in the 21st century and what he's doing differently in his market with his company. Now, this operation is focusing on what's called on-site generation of their cleaning solutions, and they've learned a way to leverage this advancement in sustainable technologies. I'm not going to try to explain it because you're not here to listen to me. You're here to listen to Ward Prine. He is from Corporate Caddy Janitorial out of another cold place that I'm familiar with, Omaha, Nebraska. How is it, Ward?
Hi, Dave. How are you? Well, it's you actually caught us on a pretty cold day, about 15 degrees. It's not the best, so I'm glad to be inside today, Dave.
Well, I think a lot of our audience is probably listening from inside, and so everybody's nice and toasty. Who is Corporate Caddy?
Yeah, so Corporate Caddy Janitorial, I started it from scratch in 2009 with one account. That was a car dealership that, quite frankly, I don't know if I want another one, but it was a great way to actually learn the janitorial business and understand how hard it can be, because they're very demanding at car dealerships. So you got to be on top of your ball game. But I dragged my wife and my brother into it. So luckily one's still married to me and the other one's still my brother. So
hey, I can relate to what you're saying, Ward, because I can guarantee you, the family that got started with me back in the 80s, they don't want to have anything to do with my cleaning stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So really from 2009 to 2016, now I've got a company of about a little over 60 employees, and I clean over 1 million square feet a night here in the Omaha metro area. I'm not quite sure of the square footage, but I know it's well over 1 million, and just enjoying the growth rate.
Hey, what happened between 2009 and now? Come on, give us some history, man.
Well, I was 2009 through 2000, right at the beginning of 2012, doing things traditional ways, just like most building service contractors are doing. And then I was introduced to a sustainable cleaning technology that was in research and development that's right here in Omaha, Nebraska, and they needed a guinea pig. So I guess I looked like a pretty good guinea pig.
No. Hey, you said that, I didn't. But I got to tell you, I know what that's like because, in the cleaning industry, there's always somebody coming out and they need to vet it.
Yeah, that's right. And so they came to me and they said that they've got an on-site, on-demand cleaning technology they feel is going to be good for the Jansan market. So I tried it for 30 days in one of my big building. Well, at that time, a big building was about 100,000 square feet. And
what type of building?
It's a commercial building that is housed by a large insurance group here in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay, so office buildings is what we're talking about. A lot of people, a lot of desks, a lot of dirty hands.
Yep, a lot of it. A lot of restrooms, break rooms, things of that nature, big lobbies with waterfalls, and a beautiful building. And of course, at that time when I heard about this, back in those days, that was 2012. That's when engineered water wasn't really heard of that much. And I was very skeptical, but yet I wanted to listen and wanted to try it. And what I found out was my custodians loved it. And that was first and foremost. My custodians loved it because they were using a product that wasn't caustic whatsoever. It was produced on site, on demand. That meant that we didn't have to ship bottles of chemicals there and have them spray it into the restrooms and using it in like toilet bowl cleaner, breathing it in every day. They went away from that. And,
so you went beyond this insurance facility at some point. This isn't your main business now today, is it?
No, it's not. I introduced it to a hospital system here in Omaha, Nebraska, one of the largest in Nebraska, actually. and they took their time looking at my company and the technology that I'm using, but they vetted us for about 2 years.
So they had to vet you because you were doing something different. They wanted to see if you really knew what you were doing or not.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, they came into my facilities where I was using the technology, wanted to see how patrons and the owners of the buildings liked it, and they were sold on it. And then in 2014, that's when they started hiring me to clean one facility first, and now it's led into multiple facilities for them.
So that's why you've got to 60 staff and 1 million square feet, because now we're doing hospitals and we've got sustainable programs.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, so audience, if you've never heard about on-site generation, I'm going to ask Ward to tell us, what is on-site generation? Why is it different than what we're doing?
Well, on-site generation is, there's a number of different companies out there in the United States that provide it. Some of them provide it by mixing salt with electricity, and that's how they're able to actually provide a product that's a very good cleaner and a sanitizer, on-site, on demand. For their custodians.
I think that's the whole thing. They don't have to have it shipped in. They're using what they have to create something. That's on-site generation.
That's exactly right.
Okay, but you said some people, you don't use this?
Yeah, some people use other forms of on-site generation, like the technology that I use. It doesn't use salts or anything like that. It's simply using cold water, the air that we breathe, and electricity.
Hang on, Ward. You said cold water?
Yeah, I know. Tell me.
I know the audience is probably getting a shocker right here. You mean you use electricity and cold water? Now, we've always known in the cleaning industry you use hot water with everything.
That's right. Yeah. Well, cold water with this technology from Clean Core Technologies is using the technology of aqueous ozone. And ozone is nothing new whatsoever. No. In America. We've been using it over 100 years to clean our water so that we can drink it.
The drinking water that we've been drinking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And what we do is very similar in nature, how ozone is created through lightning. Actually, Clean Core provides the technology for my company on-site, on demand through electricity, through a generator that's on a no-touch cleaning system or a fill station where we fill up our auto scrubbers and our carpet extractors. So we're using the powerful, Mother Nature's most powerful oxidizer, ozone, to clean our facilities.
Okay, so if people haven't used ozone or don't know what it is, what is making ozone work? Is it a certain chemical in it? What makes it work?
Yeah, so what happens, just like in nature where there's two oxygen molecules that are in the air, when they're introduced to lightning, they split apart, and that weak bonded oxygen molecule wants to connect, and does, with the two other oxygen molecules, which makes three of them, which makes the ozone molecule, O3. So in nature, when that's created, it attacks any type of pathogen or bacteria and kills it on contact. So that rain smell, Dave, that you smell a lot down there in Florida, that's ozone that you're smelling. So it's Mother Nature's way of preserving the environment.
Okay, wait a minute. You got a lightning bolt generator?
We actually do, yeah. Clean Core provides, that's exactly right. They provide a generator that's right on the applications, whether it be the Clean Core Caddy or the fill station, that produces ozone, aqueous ozone, on-site, on demand. And the key to the technology for Clean Core are tiny little bubbles of ozone gas called nanobubbles that are put into the water. So when my custodians are cleaning a facility, whether it be the toilets, the urinals, the fixtures, the sinks, the floors, they're spraying out water, but it's got tiny little bubbles of ozone gas that oxidize those surfaces.
Okay, so this is non-toxic to them or toxic?
Non-toxic. It's using only water. And the beautiful thing about aqueous ozone, the tiny little bubbles disperse rather quickly after they do their job of cleaning, and then it reverts right into oxygen and water. So I'm
not going to get a rash on my arm or anything like that when I use this?
Dave, not whatsoever. I mean, that's one reason why I love this technology, and because of the fact that it's so good for the custodians and my employees. I've not had one incident or accident that is related to any type of product that I've used with CleanCore.
Okay,
And
so if your people haven't had any of this issue, then that means your clients haven't had the issue as well.
that's right. Yeah, no, all my big healthcare system, nobody at their facilities with our technology, with CleanCore technology, has been injured or hurt or anything. Actually, they use it a lot to rub on their hands, and it brings a soft feeling to your hands. And quite frankly, I mean, that's the number one reason why I use this technology, because it's so safe for the employees, and it is sustainable. It sends a very good message of environmentality, as Disney World down there calls it. But it just sends a great message to your employees and your staff. And if you've got a happy staff, you've got some very good workers out there for you.
Well, but you're also talking, you've got happy clients. And I think I always teach, whenever I talk about clients, I'm not talking about external clients only. I'm talking internal. You're taking care of both with one thing.
That's exactly right. Well, Vince Elliott, who is a Jansan consultant, said this a few years ago, that over 600,000 workers a year are injured by misuse of chemicals every year.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. With my company, I simply don't have that anymore. I don't have the.
So you're not part of this risk management issue then?
That's right. Yep.
Wow.
That's exactly right.
That's got to be helping the bottom line of your business too.
It is, and a healthcare facility. And a system that they know I'm using this technology. It also helps with indoor air quality. They know that I'm not cleaning their restrooms and large lobbies with chemicals. So they know that that's not going to be in their HVAC systems and possibly getting to other patrons in their facilities, like patients.
So what we're not doing is we're not using a chemical in one area and the HVAC system pulling the vapors from that, putting it into another area where it might be a critical care area where I won't want that.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Okay, so this isn't the only thing. I mean, because you said sustainable practices. You're not just using one type of product or practice here.
Right. Yeah, I do use I'm a big believer of hydrogen peroxide type of product, like Envirox, when I need to use it.
Hey, I've used it for years.
Yeah, and it's made out of their packaging is made out of post-consumer products, which blends right into my sustainable theme for my company. I also use a product line called Delamo. That's a company line out of California where very much like a Rubbermaid products, like their cans and your dollies and things of that nature that are made out of 80% post-consumer products, really made out of old rubber tires.
Hey, sustainability can be in a lot of different ways, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. And in the custodial industry, we can bring these things in, and I think that's what you're saying here. You are kicking out the old methods of doing things, bringing in new technology, and this is why I said, when I listened to Ward's message, this is really cleaning in the 21st century, not the 20th century. And I think that's what I like about what you've been saying.
Yep, that's. I hope that's the message that I'm sending.
I'm receiving it. I don't know about the audience today, but I'm receiving it.
Oh, so, that's good.
Here's the thing is I don't know anybody, including myself, and I hope that's not true. This is true for you. Are you satisfied yet?
No, never satisfied. We are constantly going out and marketing what we do. And actually what happens when you get to a certain level, it seems like more and more people are hearing about it. And they want you to come and tell them about what you have. Other hospital systems, other clinics, schools want you to come in and talk about it. And it's funny how it happens by word of mouth when you start doing something like this.
Now, I get Mike that was just on doesn't like networking by word of mouth. It's good, but I think you're also talking about, success breeds success, and that's what we're talking about here. But now you're on here today to actually use networking and this broadcast to tell people what you're doing. I think you've proven a concept that works, but what industry? Where?
It obviously works in healthcare, but if you're a building service contractor out there and your main targets are schools, or higher education like universities, whether it be daycare centers, churches. Those are big targets for sustainability, and definitely very, very ripe for the picking.
You know, what's interesting about your conversation today and everything that we're saying here is, you know, I came from St. Louis, the Midwest. You're from the Midwest, the heart of it. And I'm now here on the East Coast, and I always heard, well, you just don't understand. In the Midwest, we're slow, we're behind, sustainability is a big issue. And I'm like, hey, here you are in the heartbeat of it, and sustainable is all you're doing.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, we're, you know, I think we're progressive here in the Midwest somewhat. We're kind of stubborn and stuck in our ways too a little bit, but we can be progressive. So.
Okay, so any parting words for the audience before I give them a couple things here?
No, I look forward to coming down on the 12th and talking to your folks that are going to come and learn a little bit from me, from one custodian to another, and about how sustainability and the theme of sustainability has really helped my company.
Now, I think one of the things I want you to understand, audience, is he talked about two different things. On-site generation and engineered water. Now, at GCI, I have a course that we engineered earlier this year. We just released it, and Ward and his group kind of helped vet us with this course. It's called Engineered Water. It helps you understand the behind the scenes of what engineered water is. You know, what we're trying to do is make you a better educated consumer when it comes to these subjects and these issues. And what Ward's been talking to you about, he's going to be here on the 12th here in Orlando. We've got an afternoon, or maybe it's a morning. Hey, whatever it is, go online. Our page, we get a lot of questions on where you can go to get this education from Ward and other people. Go to our gym website, that's GemSupply.net. Go to the education tab. On there, you'll see our class schedule of everything, including Ward's session with us. If you can't find what you want there, or you want to like me, I know I've got a bald head, but hey, anyway, like me on Facebook, share that. Let people know, network that way, if you will. I also have a website, because we all have to do all of this social media, beyondcleanwithdave.com. There's lots of information out there. We just started putting up some how-to videos. We're trying to cover it all. You know, that's all for our show today. You can watch me each and every Friday afternoon. I'm always live right here from Orlando, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not going to make another mistake. So, you know, hey, I guess it's over. I'm Dave Thompson. Keep changing your future. Keep those changes healthy, positive, and proactive. And remember my mantra, I am a janitor and I save lives. Now, hang on just a minute. I'm not quite done with you yet. So stay tuned after this short break. I want to tell you what's coming up next Friday.
You have been listening to Beyond Clean with Dave and his guest. Sharing what you learn with others is what turns knowledge into professional development. This weekly broadcast is archived for just that reason. Dave would love to hear from you, whether it is to share your experiences privately or on air with Dave. Have a request, need to learn more, or want to take a full certification course on a subject? Just reach out to us at GemSupply, and we will help you access the right solution for your needs. Live classes are hosted each week at one or more of our 4 locations in Central Florida. These range from a 1-hour class to a week-long ISSA Master Technician training. Need Dave to bring a class to you? The mobile certification.
Okay, folks, we had a little bit of trouble with the video, but hey, that's okay. Next Friday, I'm going to be joined right here in studio, Jess Badwin with the Southern Indian Tribe is going to be here in Orlando. He's taking my Master's Green Certification course. He's going to be live with me to talk about facility certifications and what the GCI program has done for his staff and their relationship with the tribe. Now, you know, I'm very happy to be a part of their program. I've watched it grow over the years. They're actually moving towards their 2nd gold certified facility. It's going to be a wonderful session. He's got so many things to talk about. I can't tell you about it all here. Come back next Friday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Catch me live again. Have a good afternoon.